Today's finally the day. We're getting back to picking corn. Dad just got in his combine there. Eli and Kayla are jumping into trucks. Other combines over here. David's not here yet. Him, Fred, and well, he's gonna run the other combine, and George is gonna drive a truck for us today. And we got Jared in the other auger wagon. This is the one that had the shaft broke on the PTO, but that's all fixed. Hopefully it stays together. I need a pit for it. I guess on the new ones, they got a bigger diameter one. Ours is a smaller one. Well, I'm finally taking off from the shed. We had a hard time getting that truck to start. Cleaned off all the battery posts, charged it, eventually went. Dad's down there with a load, I believe, so better get after it, get down there. There he was, patiently waiting. Well, it's 16 and a half, 16.7 when we were here last time. We'll see what, if she dried down any. Yeah, look at all those tortilla chips and taco shells. Can't see him, but David's right over there. They're the yellow corn crew today. And we're here, we're the white corn crew. The reason we're doing that is there's two dumps here at this Indiana bin location. A faster one and a slower one. The white's on the slower right now, it's the older system. So we're able to stay on two dumps this way. Then when we both get in white corn, because there's only like, I don't know, 80 or 90 acres of yellow left, he'll get that done today easy and being white. Then when we're both in white, we'll be able to use both dumps while we fill up a 25,000 bushel bin that can be filled up off the fast ones, and it'll all be on the slow after that. And that'll cause a bottleneck up there. So we're gonna dump on two dumps for as long as we can. Busy place with corn up the bin.
Right here.
Kayla waiting on us. There goes George over to David. Well, we got one field of white corn done. He's on the next one.
That big old blue peach, scary. I thought it was.
David's just about done with the yellow corn. He's going to be jumping over to the third white corn field. There's three big ones. And FS over here, spreading some fall fertilizer on the bean stubble. Get the ends off this field. Not a very high traffic area down here. We might see a car today. Maybe. Well, it's Monday, November 3rd. We're back picking corn again. Took a little time off. We had a Thursday rain and rain Friday. I believe that's the way it was. And decided not to pick over the weekend, let it dry back out good. Because we just had 2 days picking left from two combines, about 400 acres, a little more, somewhere in there. So we're getting her now. We're on the last two fields. I just moved into the last 155 acre field of white corn I'm picking, and David's moving to a 104 acre field of white corn now. And that's all of it. So after that, it'll be over. Beautiful day again today. Been a pretty easy day. We did have the auger chain come off first thing this morning. We stuck a new one on. Didn't take no time. Corn's good, yielding good. The moisture's actually up a little bit. It's like 17.5. Gained moisture after all that rain, I guess. And this weight's good. It's like 62, I think, last seen. Yeah. Good day. David's on there. He still looks like he's getting ends off the other field. He's in the white corn. Got some 1790 WQ against 1656 WA and M, which are the two best corns they have now. But I got some good ones coming for next year. White corns are 11, 13, 15, or 14.
something like that. Anyways, I got at least 3 new white corn numbers. Hope at least get some to try. Go with these 2 that we already have. I want to plant more white corn next year. We can get the good numbers, but can't get the good numbers. We won't plant more white corn than normal, which is what we're going to do this year. But we can't get the numbers, so we plant normal amount of white corn. What we got here? Oh, about 430 acres of white, something like that.
Well, here we are. Sun setting. Not quite 5 p.m. Time change sure makes a lot of difference the way things feel in the evening. Feels like you're working late. It's still early. It's dark so early, and of course it'll get worse going into December. Really don't like the time change, but it's good for kids getting on the school bus, not dark.
There goes Fred into the night. Oh, I'm filling up Eli. Well, heading in. We got about 80 acres left. David's probably got, I don't know, 40, 50 in the field he's in. Not much left, so we're quitting kind of early. It's only 6:20. Yeah, seeing us play Rivet. Go watch. I'll see how much our 8th grade girls basketball team wins by the night. I'm saying 35. Last day of harvest. He's over there filling up fuel. They didn't win last night. It's like they won by, I don't know, 45 or something. But after we get harvest done, we're going to start running the 2 south for 24 hours a day. It's supposed to rain Saturday or something like that, so we're going to get as much done as we can. I think I got the night shift in Indiana tonight, so I'm going to get on harvesting, go coach basketball before I come back.
Good morning. This should be the last day of harvest. This is November 4th, I think. Anyway, we're winding down with the harvest part. Still a lot of dirt work to do, and discing, excavator, bulldozer, trenching, not trenching, I guess, ditching with the query. There goes David. He's picking corn. Got 2 of them picking corn, running 2 auger wagons, Jarrett's in that one, and 4 semis. You can knock out a lot of bushels in a hurry that way. I'm going to unload here on the go. Show you that from a little distance. I'm in the white Pete. It's got the computer shift transmission, which have been some problems, but not this one. I guess it just needs another gear. We had trouble with the window on Fred's blue Pete, and we couldn't get it up today in the one that Eli's driving, the gray Pete. The windows just aren't a good spot, I guess, for those. So far these are working, but I don't roll them down either. Maybe that's the reason. Having a little trouble up at the bin site with the big drag on the fast leg, and I don't know for sure what's going on there. That kicks out every once in a while. They couldn't get it going this morning. The breaker was kicked off, and it ran when we cleaned it up last night. So that's weird. Anyhow, we'll find it. If it keeps acting up, it'll get to the point where we'll have to find it.
Last irrigation to move. It's electric, which is nice. Water off. Let's see, we went forward. Might as well go fast. On. Start. There she goes. See, sitting in the corner, we pick a spot so it can run to. Then we pick this spot.
at our biggest dump in Indiana. We're putting the white corn. This is our scale shed. Got to come in here and turn on the pit. Inside, we'll test the moisture, make out a ticket. It's a really light load for out of the field. Moisture's done, 16 grain. We figure out our ticket, both dry bushels and wet bushels. Had a little trouble with the drag quitting. I think we was just overloading it. I don't see any slide at all. So, this is what it is. Some Z-line. He's dumping white corn on the other dough. Yeah, so far it's working.
Well, last irrigation out of the way. That right there is the line of where the water, I don't know if you see it or not. The water hits, don't hit. Water, no water. Water, no water. That's about as extreme as there is.
The last day of corn harvest for the year. We're on the west side of this one field that got irrigation. So much difference in the two corners where it don't irrigate. Most of this ground here isn't extremely droughty, but there is an area that is. And I'll show you here in a little bit the difference. This right here is irrigated and really good corn. And you get up to the corner here on this part, it looks like we have a drought over there too. Anyway, you get up here to this corner, it drops off about 30 bushels, not a whole big bunch. And I don't know if you can see it coming up there in this corner, just a little bit. You can tell by looking at it, but it's not all that bad. We'll get down to the other corner, we'll take a video of it so you can see it and see the difference. Last day, and I think this is the first day I forgot my headset. But anyway, don't have it today for my phone. I do have Double R Farms hat on today. I threw that on last night because I went to a ball game. After we was done picking it, my Ivers Farms hat was so tore up. But some of this corn, a lot of difference in the irrigated. It's different soil types, and that's what happens when you get up this corner. Okay, this corner of the field is definitely the only corner that is this drouthy of ground, but look at this here. How black it is. It's making about 100 bushels. It's making no rain here since probably July 20th, which is more than it looks like it would make. You can see right in front of me with the difference there where the water starts hitting. I want to put that corner on there, show guys up in the center part of the state what burn up corn looks like. It really gets black. I'm sure they've never seen anything quite like that. The burn up probably looks about like this. Corn don't look near as good when it gets this dry, but it's pretty good through here.
Got just about done. He's got 12 left, so this will be Kalen's last load of the year.
Well, looks like I am on the last round for the year. The other combine got done in the other field. So right there, 24 rows. That's all left of the 25 crop. 24 rows.
Kalen all loaded. Now this is it. These are the rows we've been looking for all year. Yep, the 2025 harvest is now just a memory, I guess. On to the next thing.
That's it. Done for the year. Another one in the books. Kind of an odd year. The way the weather was in the spring, summer. See what happens next year.
Well, I didn't think Kalen's would hold it, but it might have. Oh, Eli's gonna get the last little bit. Then I'm gonna take this road out of here. I'm gonna take this tractor and auger wagon back to Illinois to be washed up at some point and stored for the winter. Well, for a year, I guess.
I'm taking my combine down to H&R at Princeton. When that gearbox went out of my unloading auger up the top, the bearing was out and the augers hit a little bit. So they're going to replace the augers for warranty, and they already did the vertical. It's got to do the horizontal. So I'm going down 41 now, taking it there. I was going to take it home, but I thought, well, might as well just take it by there. And they said they'd put it in the next day or two. Get her done. Take her home.
Across the White River, it separates Knox and Gibson County, Indiana. They're squeezing through so far. L41 taking Evansville. So we're turning off here, going down the Toka River bottoms. Spot way. That's the best way. This is the best way home. Take this over to East Mount Carmel, into Mount Carmel, Illinois, then up Route 1. By the grass farm. I should know the name of that I can't think of right now. Nice spot, nice place. Grass Masters, that's it. Probably doing a little chiseling. Hop on right here next to Duke Energy, and we'll cross the bridge from Indiana, Illinois, over the Wabash and the Mount Carmel, Illinois. We've had a lot of good football teams here through the years. A real good high school girls basketball team right now. They got second in state last year, I think. That's Duke Energy there. Big power plant. It's little. I thought that's where they make clouds at. That's what it looked like. Here's the Wabash. I came from right up there. There's a point. Well, we farm right up there. That's not where I came from today, but that's where the White and the Wabash come together. We farm down that's what's called neck. It's a long way to get around. Then the Toka River, which is, I guess it's a little river or a huge ditch. comes out right there. So Wabash gets a lot wider right here. Heads on down to Ohio. I don't know how many miles downstream. 100 maybe? I don't know. Maybe more. I don't really know. But we're back to the People's Republic of Illinois. Mount Carmel, Illinois. Home of Tyra Buss and Jared Banks. They like Halloween. Just about to make it. Farms right over that ridge there. Actually, it's on top of it. High points on in between us. That's where I live. That's my driveway. And just over this hill's the farm lane at the bottom. That's our neighbors right there by the lane. Johnson Farm, our big farm. And we're up here. Home sweet home. George's house, and then Eli's living here, and Grandma and Grandpa's old house. That's good. We need somebody in there. Well, I went home for, well, I didn't go home. I went and helped coach Reagan's basketball team and Trish basketball team, and watched Sienna go win. Then I came out to Eli's place at 10. We are running this one up here in Crawford County. Spread right. Washes needed heavily up here, so this is more of a dry area for us. And running one over in Indiana. Both run around the clock. I got the 10 p.m. to the 8 a.m. shift tonight. I think I'll just stay on that. A lot better bouncing back and forth. Well, I have to say, one benefit of moving at 2:30 at night is a busy road. It's got nobody on it. Still feeling pretty good, surprisingly. I'll show you this a little bit of thought. This is my seeder. I got the blower that just blows air from it towards the back where it comes out. That's on a hydraulic. And then there's little gears in there, chain, spins these rollers, that spins it down to where that blower blows it to the back. And I got a foot switch down there, and it'll go so many RPM. See, I got the blower going because I turn it on and off some spots. Don't have the rollers go. And I got to turn around. They don't like you working up the highways. But we're just doing where there's washes. See, there's a good wash goes right through there, and a couple that go down to it, so we're just kind of kicking it on. And off different places where I think it might need it, where it might wash. Yeah, working corn stalks now. A little different view. I think I like it better. I feel like I'm doing more. A lot of winter annuals came up, so I'm just gonna thin them out, make that easier to handle this spring, even if we don't get a fall spray, because I think it's supposed to get real cold next week, so that puts a damper on that, especially, well, the Roundup. That won't work below freezing. A little bit of wash here, not much. It's probably the last one I'll do. So I kick on the foot switch, see where I've been mapping this little one there. RPMs are spinning, that means that's turning. Come through, and I click it off. The big ones will work in first a little bit, and then seed them. Before we had this, we'd work them in the spring, then we just would pick up over them in the fall so they didn't get worse. Well, this has been working out pretty good. Definitely helps with erosion, no doubt about it. 5:30. The sky is just starting to wake up. Getting pretty bright out now. Making a pit stop up here at the fuel tank. Getting pretty low. Got that field done. Got 100 acres of stalks done. Which was further away from shed. We're a little closer now. Fill up, head back out. I should be here. Supposed to be 2 hours, I think. Or 2 hours. 356 gallons later, we're full and heading back out. Shift's over. Eli's running her now. Well, shift changed again. There goes Eli. Can't tell, I can barely tell. Getting a little frost on the ground. Should get the stalks that are done in their option area done mid-morning. Then we'll go ahead and switch over to bean stubble while we're up here. It just makes it a heck of a lot easier to get through in the spring. Pick out some winter annuals that's in it. Definitely want to get the stalks done first. Which, like I said, should be mid-morning. Chance of rain this weekend. Starts today sometime, I think. So hopefully holds off for a little bit. Not much rye left. Somebody got to bring some at daylight. The sensor's up a little ways, especially for us that don't use much. It's been going off a while, but we're not putting on every acre, so it should last a while. Got 2 cornfields left, starting with this one first because I might need just a little rye in the corner, not much. And the other one, I know it needs some in one spot, so starting here. 2 cornfields left in this area. Starting to get bright out. Changing out. I was getting tired, but that sun's magic. Wakes you up. Here comes George. He's running the rye up. Fill up the Salford.
Hello YouTube, this is November 6th. I wanted to walk you around the farm a little and tell you what I remembered when I was a kid. Start off, this is where you come up to the farm, and right over there is where I live. This is where I spent my teen years. My mom and dad built that house about 1961. When I first remember, our mailboxes were here at this corner. There was two there, ours, and down there was Carl and Evelyn Grounds and their children, our neighbors. There was more neighbors down here, but the mail came to here, so their boxes were that way. And I don't know what, when we moved those mailboxes, a long time ago. But there was no pond here. This was all pasture, and this was just a gully, like a ravine here, kind of a wash, but not real bad. This dirt road has been here all my memory. On the right hand side of it down there, group of trees. Those grew up quite a bit, but equipment was small. We got through there down to that fieldage work down there. You can see that maybe. Other side of this woods, that was in alfalfa, and we had a dairy herd here. Cut that for hay twice a year, every year. Maybe sometimes get a little bit of a third cutting. Where my house is, that was a woods. I wish we'd have left it now, the way things are, but before I built that, we farmed that. There was a pasture for a while, and then we farmed it. Where that machine shed is, was the hay barn for the west side, and the center held the hay. The east side was for small calves. I would go up toward the farm better. Mailboxes are up here now on the west side of Mom and Dad's old place where Eli lives now. There's mine and Eli's and the farms. Of course, my house over there, like I said. Back when I was a kid, this drive was the same, but where that house sits was an old barn, like the old wooden barns you see in pictures, and very few still around, but a few. And when that barn was first in use by my dad, he had a grade B dairy, which meant he milked into a pail. They were milkers. He ended up by hand, but he milked into a pail, dumped that into one of them old milk cans like you see at antique stores, maybe you've seen some, and you beat the lid on with a rubber hammer and put it in a cooler. And then somewhere, I would say middle to late, maybe 57, 56, somewhere in there, Prairie Farms, who was the local creamer here, said you cannot have grade B. You have to go to grade A milk or just get out. So at that time, Dad changed and went out here about where the dryer is there, just a little this side of it, and built a milk parlor and a barn to hold the cows. Had a holding pen, so you run them in and they come through the milk parlor, and you could tell who was milked and who wasn't that way, because they were let out into just the open pasture, or the barn lot as it was. Hay was stored there. I told you from the corner, one each side was calves, this side was where we fed the cows, and it's just about in line with the edge of that barn now. To the other side of it was the other barn. The old house, before Mom and Dad built that house, sat right here. There was a couple of big trees here. They were maples. They were good-sized maples. And the house sat there was a two-bedroom home. And I remember the day Mom, or not the day, but the time Mom and Dad added on a bathroom. So we had indoor bathroom. Before that, we had an outhouse. I don't know when that was, early 50s. 52 or 3, I'd guess. I was born in Indiana, Knox County, moved over here when I was 3 years old. When Mom and Dad moved here, the ground in Indiana at that time was very droughty, and it was before irrigation, so we couldn't raise much. Grandpa had this spot here, so Dad moved over here and started farming that. And he rented a place south of here, was 80 to 100 acres. And he rented a grounds place also, and another spot just over to the east here. He rented that as well. So that through the years picked up. Now this shop was built back in the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s. It was just the back part here for a while, and then we added the rest of this on because it wasn't big enough. And of course it got to where you can already get a combine in there now, so we built another bigger one. Now in the back here, This to the west of here belongs to us now, but when I was young, that belonged to my uncle. And the property line, there's a big old walnut tree set about here where this tank is. The property line was right back here somewhere, close to here. Might be hard pressed to find it exactly, but anyway, to the east was Dad's, to the west was my Uncle Buck's. And my uncle decided he wanted to sell his, so Dad bought it. And it's been all one farm ever since. And there was a house set here about where that auger is, back off the road just a little more than that. Was not much of a house, but you know, it was a house. And it was brick veneer, they called it. It's a tar paper kind of siding. And I had a cousin lived there for a while. And we had a guy work for us, was married to a cousin, and he lived there for a while too. His kids went to school with us. They would get on the bus up there at the old house, and that's where they'd turn around. That's been a long time ago. I just celebrated the 39th anniversary of my 40th birthday, so things have changed a lot in my lifetime. None of these bins were here. I'll walk around front and show you a little bit about that. As I said earlier, this where the fuel tank set was a barn lot. Out where the shop is now, that was woods to the east. To the west, and especially to the north, was pasture. Dad had this 80 was almost all pastures dedicated to the cows. The 40 was alfalfa hay. And the cows would change pastures during the summer, put them in one a while, and then shut them out of that and put them in a new one. And well, when you turn them cattle into that new pasture, they were so happy. They'd just moo and jump and carry on. They had a good time. Right out here, this side of that old shop, there was 2 wire corn cribs. And we did corn on the ear. It was not shelled off, individual kernels. They were still on the ear. They held 1,500 bushel apiece, and that was a lot of corn at that time. And my dad and my uncle that owned the other side I was talking about, and my uncle's son-in-law went together and bought a Minneapolis molding corn sheller, and every summer they would shell out the corn that they had stored in Dad's bins and my uncle's son-in-law. So they all 3 worked together to get that job done. Here where the dump is now, right here, was what we called a granary. The back of that was a solid wall, and then about 15 feet in was slatted wall, and that held ear corn as well. There was 4 small bins that Dad put wheat and oats. I think he had some barley. He put small grains in those 4 small bins. That was all for cow feed. Kept that all winter. We had feed that we fed the cows when they were in being milked. It was a special high protein thing to help with milk production. And there was only 3 bins here to begin with. They were kind of in the back of this. You couldn't drive through here. One was right west of this, and you had to back in. We did that for a long time, and we had in-bin dryers for quite a while, years. Then we changed over to a batch dryer it was, and it would dry like 250 bushel and then dump it. It held like 1,000, but as it got to the bottom, it would dry it and cool it, and then you dump that and it would all move down and start that process over. We had that for a long time. And then we put in a better dryer, and a tower dryer, and then this year we went to that thing. That's first year for that, and it was a good year for it because we dried a lot of bushel of corn this year, and it worked out very well. We used to just kind of guess by measure, you know, hopper holds this much, truck holds this much. Way back before I really got involved, that's how we gauged how much grain we had. then we put in a scales here, and that would weigh a straight truck, 6-wheel truck, fine. We got 10-wheelers and 68. They would fit on there, but it was close. And then when we got the semis, we had to make flat off and on so we could split weigh it. We'd weigh the tractor, then the trailer, then add it up. And then eventually we build the scales out on the west side of the new shop. And it will accommodate the entire semi, which is much better. So that's about really all I can tell you about what was here. Oh, across the road here, I can remember there were 4 cherry trees, and they were good producers. And every year when the cherries were ripe, my mother's family, being her sister and her mother, her brother-in-law and her father, and my mom and dad would all get together and pick all them cherries. The men would pick them. The women sit around this big wash tub and pitted them. Got the seeds out of them and put them up. They made cherry pies and all kinds of good stuff with it. And my brother and I still like cherry pie and ice cream. Pretty good combination. I come over here to live. I did live over that way where my daughter lives now. That was the first farm I bought. First house we lived in. We only lived there because it came with a farm. It wasn't much. It was really cold. Then I moved into that house on my birthday, 1978. Been there ever since. And been a good home. And I don't have to go far to work. I tell people sometimes I even have to walk to work. And you can see it's from there to there. So it ain't that bad. If I think of something else later, we'll do this again, but I think we've hit all the high points. So have a good weekend. I want to add, I guess, kind of like a postscript. I don't know if you've ever seen around the back side of the farm or not. I'll show you a little of that. There's my house there from the north side. And, you know, fuel tanks, dryer you're familiar with. My little toy box where I play with my old car. And this is looking out over Wolf Prairie. The buildings you see over there is the Mount Carmel Airport, the hangars, the office, runways you can't see now. If it was night, you could see them lit up pretty good. And we farm a lot of this down in here. There is the 40 that was alfalfa. This was all pasture. Of course, there was no terraces at that time. You can see the tile. It's called parallel tile outlets. And that takes the water under the ground so it don't wash. And does a lot of good. Really helps. Side of the shop, keep our used motor oil there, and the guy comes picks it up and they burn that in their shop. It's works out pretty well. This, of course, like I said, was all woods. The terraces weren't here, so there were some big washes. We would play in the washes when I was a kid. That was our canyons, and that's where we waited to ambush the Indians, because cowboys and Indians was the big thing. You can see a little more of the airport. Trees are getting very pretty. I got a burning bush over there. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's as red as it's ever been. Now when it's lit up over there, that airport's kind of pretty. All the runway lights. And the rest of the prairie there. And over here, I doubt you can see that car moving, but that is the Bridgeport Road. So we can see the Bridgeport Road. And if you get at my house, you can see Route 1. And you can see the San Barons Blacktop. So 3 of the main roads here we can see. Now no public roads go through this prairie because of that airport. That was built in World War II as a satellite airfield to George Field, which is up at Lawrenceville. It's where pilots trained for World War II. So I'm sure there'd be some great stories if you could just have heard them. But my dad was in World War II, but he was in the Marine Corps in the South Pacific, so he wasn't involved in any of that. This is the back of the shop. Oh, I don't know if I showed you the doors. I'm sure you've seen them before, but since we're here, It's visible from the Bridgeport Road. School bus over there now. So we put our name on there so people would know who was up here. Used to, everybody had them on their mailboxes, but that's, I don't know, people just don't do that anymore. I guess, don't know why. Don't want people to know you live there. I don't know. Anyhow, that's why that's there. And this shed here is just machine storage. Got a header sitting out there that's traded off. I have to get that down to the dealer pretty soon. We did have a big chance of rain for tomorrow, but they've moved that way back. Didn't develop, I guess. We're left a little drive in between these. Good we did, we used that a lot. All right, I think I'm done this time. See ya.
Well, back out here on our northern border. There's the Dollar General, Route 1, turn to Hudsonville. This is far north as we go. There's Tuttle's. All bean stubble now. Eli got the corn done and got the bean stubble done around Robson, so I'm doing the northern stuff to start with tonight. Second field of the evening done. Pretty big ones, two together, probably 200 acres. Done up in the Hudsonville area. There's one 30-acre field of bean stubble around Robson, then start making our way to Flat Rock. One field in between on the way, besides that one at Robinson. Definitely a good way to get the dirt cleaned off the top. Day shifts here. Well, I made it to my truck. Dad gave me a ride. Even forgot I had a camera. So I didn't get him on here, but he came up here. Eli brought his truck and the fuel trailer to Flat Rock. Dad picked him up, took him to the tractor. He picked me up, brought me to Robinson to get my pickup. Dad's gonna rip a few grass spots that we're gonna farm next year.
Well, I got the old ripper, the 870 ripper on the 500 road track. It ain't gonna pull it fantastic, but it's got 25 acres to do. Some reason I can't get the blades to work up and down. I keep popping out my hydraulics. I'm gonna take it down the field, see what happens down there. I keep trying different outlets, so I know that's not it. This don't seem to want to work. Stuck. We'll see if it's up or down or where it's at. If it's in the ground, it may just stay that way. All right, let's go see what happens here. Looks like it could rain, so I need to get to going. Well, I got Michelle Brown's ground ripped up, the alfalfa, converting it over to row crops. Now I'm back here on Wiseman doing a little bit of ripping. There's some grass along the woods that was set aside one time. It's a little bit here. The distance, that didn't go a whole lot to it, so I'm doing this now. So it'll work out better in the spring, so you can farm it a little easier, a little less mowing, keeping the weeds down and stuff. And I'm going to put new high lines in right here, new poles and stuff for several miles. Out there, and there's a guy out here in the four-wheeler doing something, but I'm going to stop and see what the heck he's doing. He's pulling some kind of thing.
test pH or something. I don't know what it is.
That thing is to test the CEC in the soil. Maps it, and then they know where to take the soil samples, he said. The CEC of the soil. I'm glad I asked. I thought maybe it was a pH tester or something. Just the acidity was, but that's what it is. Well, I'm down here by the ditch, Robson. Gonna pick the motor up, take it up to the shed for the winter. And all the piping, most of it's still laying here.
So I'm gonna go home. There's a chance of rain today and tomorrow, a little bit, not a bunch. And believe it or not, Sunday evening and Monday morning there's a chance of snow. So we'll see what happens. If we work this weekend, there'll be a Wednesday video. If we don't, there won't be. So you just have to check out the channel to find out. But that's it for this video. See you in the next one.